Huge revelations for Dragon Ball Super. Bardock, 40 years ago, was the one who saved Granola and his old Namekian friend Monaito. Bardock's back in Dragon Ball Super. I mean, he's not alive, but we're talking about him. So we're just getting the spoilers in here for Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 76, thanks to DBS Chronicles on Twitter. And yeah, the big revelation is that for some reason, Monaito didn't tell Granola that 40 years ago, Granola was actually saved by a Saiyan, and that's the reason he's the last survivor of the Cerealians, and that Saiyan was Bardock. And it appears that Bardock also saved the Namekian. So in that very first page when we saw the Ozaru Bardock bust in through the ceiling of whatever that building was when Granola was having his dream or his little nightmare, we thought that has to be Bardock, right? Like I made a whole video on it, and because he had the scar and everything, so they're kind of giving us a hint there, but they were making you think that he was coming in to try and destroy Granola, and for whatever reason, he had some element of conscience hit him, and he decided to save Granola. This is getting a huge mixed reaction from fans. A lot of fans are just crazy excited to hear more about Bardock, and a lot are like, well, this is just dulling down Goku's story even more. Like, Goku being a nice Saiyan is what separated him from the rest of the Saiyans, and now you're giving us this new Dragon Ball minus Bardock, the one that, you know, loved Goku and sent him away to protect him, and not the old school badass Bardock. We're just retconning the story even more. We're watering down Goku's character even more in doing this, but I'll get to that in a little bit. We have spoilers for the full chapter, and we get to see what happens in the conclusion of the Vegeta versus Granola fight and Goku helping out. I know you guys are excited to hear about that. So after the last video, when we got the first draft pages and Vegeta was laying on the ground, you know, holding on to Granola's leg, looking all humiliated and stuff, and Vegeta said it looked like he was going back in to fight, and I was like, yeah, I don't think Vegeta has a plan. If he had if he had some sort of hidden special ability, he should have used it by now. And fans were just commenting like, oh, he's gonna win, it's not over, he's got the Senzu, all this stuff. So I tweeted this, and I said, if Vegeta defeats Granola, I will eat a picture of Vegeta. And guess what, boys? I will not be eating that picture. I know you guys will never give up hope that Vegeta will get that W, but guys, it's the Goku show. They've been writing it this way forever, and it's not gonna change. As much as I wanted Vegeta to win so damn bad, to be honest, it defeats the entire point of giving him a form if he's just gonna lose. But anyways, I'll explain what happens in this chapter. So basically, after the draft pages, when Vegeta goes back in, before he goes back in, he like punches Goku away, and then he goes back in and he pretty much just gets his ass beat really bad. He even needs Goku to like save him from a blast. Goku kind of like pushes him out of the way of a blast, and eventually Vegeta gets knocked into a house and he's unconscious. Goku decides to start fighting Granola again. He goes in, he starts using some interesting technique where the pinpoint where Granola's attacking him, he actually ends up strengthening that point so that even if it's a critical area like the back of his neck and his abdomen where he gets hit here, it doesn't like hurt him that bad, which is pretty interesting, but at the end of the day, it's not enough and Granola still overpowers him. Goku gets knocked out and back into base form, and Vegeta wakes back up and goes back into Ultra Ego form. Now at this point, they're fighting inside the Sugargen city, and Granola asks the Saiyans like, yo, can we fight somewhere else? And Vegeta's like, I don't care. Vegeta is still somehow fighting back, but he ultimately ends up losing. Granola gets on top of him and pins his arms down and just starts blasting his face. Somehow that doesn't kill Vegeta, I'm not really sure. Eventually Granola sits down because he's exhausted, which is something I talked about in my last video, talking about Vegeta, you know, pretty much getting humiliated, and that doesn't Granola have a stamina issue? Like, this dude's using both Sharingan, he's using a newfound power that he's not used to, but he just keeps going and going. I was like, he's got to run out of juice eventually, and so it looks like he finally does here. And as he sits down, a building crumbles, and there's a Sugargen mother and child there. And just as Granola is about to kill Goku and Vegeta, Monaito arrives with the help of Oatmeal in the spaceship. Oatmeal, I guess, flew the spaceship over to Monaito and was like, yo, Granola's out of control, like, you gotta talk to him. So Monaito, the Namekian, the old one, he shows up and he starts to talk to and convince Granola to stop fighting. And Monaito says, 40 years ago, the one who saved us was a Saiyan called Bardock. And that's, I guess, the huge revelation that they were talking about on the website. Bardock, Goku's father, saved Granola back in the day. I wonder, like, I don't think this is gonna ring any bells for Goku. Like, he doesn't know even that his father's name is Bardock. unless like Vegeta knew Bardock and told Goku about him at some point, like off screen. So this is kind of like diving into new like retcon-y sort of territory, but it looks like we're gonna get some Bardock backstory in the next chapter, in chapter 77. So that's, I mean, fans are definitely gonna like that, but I wanna read some of these comments from people replying to the spoilers, because I think there's some interesting dialogue to have here regarding bringing Bardock in as a good guy like this. So we got this first one here from Shining Citron, who says, I think minus Bardock has potential to be a better character if they were to flesh him out here, and seeing the effects the Saiyans had is cool. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to talk more about Bardock. It's something, he's a fan favorite character, right? Like I've talked about this a lot on my channel. How do they continually keep Dragon Ball fans interested? They give us fan service. I mean, talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly, it was all fan service pretty much. They gave us Bardock, Gogeta, Broly, like the whole shebang. And it looks like they're gonna continue to do that here in this arc, giving Vegeta a new form and now bringing Bardock back into the story. But yeah, I'm not gonna deny that it definitely has a lot of potential. Guest of tweet saying, the Saiyan saved our world is a huge retroactive problem towards the Saiyan and Namek arc's narrative, and it makes Goku's kind nature, which should be an oddity amongst the Saiyans, not that special. I appreciate the attempt to make Bardock relevant, but this ain't it, Chief. I mean, it could be that, like, you know, something about Goku's DNA, his bloodline, his heritage is a more, like, kind Saiyan, or I guess less of a savage or something like that, like someone with morals. I think I kind of got to agree with Guest of Tweets here that this is like trying to, I guess, retcon the story a little bit more and the whole nature of the Saiyans in itself. Like, there's a whole history behind these characters, how they love fighting, they're bloodthirsty, and they just don't care. And now it seems like they're really trying to, in Dragon Ball Super, just change the attitude of the Saiyans almost entirely. I mean, especially with Dragon Ball Super, you had a lot of, Dragon Ball Super Broly, you had a lot of like very like meek, kind of kind-hearted Saiyans going on. They seem like more simplistic rather than, you know, if you look at the old Bardock special, they were just like crazy maniacs, right? They would just kill anything and anyone, they didn't care. This is nice and actually gonna have some real interest with expanding more of Bardock, hopefully showing that he was more different than the average Saiyan. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're getting at here. You know, it'd be really cool if they wished him back. I mean, you really want to keep people interested in Dragon Ball Super, wish Bardock back. Use the Dragon Balls for that. This is very contrived and silly. What could have been an interesting take on whether the Saiyans should be forgiven is resolved by contrivance. Why didn't Monaito tell him this for 40 plus years? Don't get me started on how it continues minus his attempt to ruin Goku's story. So yeah, that brings up a very, very good question. Why didn't Monaito tell Granola this in his entire life? Like, we were saved by a Saiyan, so why are you so against the Saiyans? Like, it maybe there's a piece of the story here that we're missing, but yeah, the Saiyans invaded your planet on Frieza's orders, and then a Saiyan saved you. So wouldn't that let you think, like, wouldn't you think that, like, oh, maybe not all the Saiyans are bad, maybe they're just being manipulated by Frieza, XYZ. So this is a really good point. I mean, yes, it's a huge revelation here that Bardock was the one that saved Granola and Planet Cereal, but why did he know this already? So both Goku and Vegeta take an L, and then they do their nostalgia cash grab. I had low expectations for this arc, but this is a new low. I can't tell if I'm disappointed or impressed in some way. Jesus, the movie can't come soon enough. So yeah, I mean, it is a nostalgia cash grab. It is a fan service sort of thing to put in there to keep fans reading. You know, let's talk more about Bardock. Let's bring him back into the story. And I gotta absolutely agree with that. I could kind of understand Goku losing an Ultra Instinct with Granola's eye pretty much being a perfect counter to Ultra Instinct, but I still think Vegeta should have won here and then maybe drop the revelation bomb or something like that if you want to. But I still don't agree with Vegeta just straight up losing. It seems like he put up a really damn good fight. Like, he's going to continue to fight a lot in this arc, but pretty much just get beat up a lot. They're basically just like trying to erase the fact that they gave Vegeta a new form for nothing and just to dump on him. They're trying to erase that fact by giving us Bardock, right? So I'm gonna know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm really excited to see what happens in the next chapter, to be honest. It looks like the fighting is gonna be over here. Goku and Vegeta both lost. Granola is the victor. But there will be this revelation where I believe Granola will finally stop fighting. He's exhausted anyways. Like, this dude is completely, from the spoilers, it seems like he's completely out of stamina. So I think it's at this point that they're gonna kind of forgive each other or whatever, and then the wish will probably be made. No word about Elec and the Heaters making their wish in this chapter. But yeah, guys, Vegeta took the L. I mean, I'm not eating no picture of Vegeta. Sorry, guys. That's just how the way Dragon Ball Super goes. Vegeta does not get W's on main opponents. It just doesn't happen. And I'm wondering what they're going to explain about Bardock. Are they going to drop some more huge bombshells of information on us? Are they going to retcon more information? We'll have to see in chapter 77. I'm Mastar. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.